It's that time, guys. It's Pitt week. You've been waiting for it. You're going to have to wait again after this year. What, Eric? It's going to be what, 2029?
That's what I hear.
That's what they say. So get your fix of chant and eat, expletive Pitt, and but we're just going to kick it off with what's been irritating me, and that's the quarterback for Pitt, Eric. Basically,
Yeah,
he sounds like a moron. He's basically he's like, well, they're going to be throwing batteries and beers at us. You got to start the show with that. I mean, what? I mean, is this guy really that dumb? Does he believe that these kids have the money to buy? I went to Sam's Club, and a packet of AA batteries is $25. College kids don't have $23 to be throwing at your monkey ass.
that's right.
You're not
I
that.
mean, I had to go wading through the garbage can to find a bunch of double A's just to take to the game.
That's I'm going to call that quarterback AA, D cell,
There you
whatever.
go.
Because and you know what, kids, I'm sorry, kids, but in Morgantown we drink our beers, we don't throw them.
That's right.
And
You might throw an empty cup.
Fans have bottles of beer, so he is just he's number one, he's dumber than a box of rocks. Number two, Narduzzi's been spoon feeding him at the high chair. And he was sincere when he said it, like he's really just that's scared. They're going to throw batteries and rocks at us, and it's going to be terrible. They're loud. Little Harry Carey. Welcome to Mountaineer Field, where they're throwing AA batteries and lithium AAA batteries at this quarterback. He's gonna get energized. No, really, come on, Eric. This is crazy. Sorry.
Narduzzi's definitely been spoon feeding him. He is definitely digging deep for the digs at West Virginia, the fan base, and I can see part of this in the notion that he's looking to kind of build some attention for the game, and I don't think he needs to. There's plenty of history here, there's plenty of tradition, but you want to bring it, brother? Bring it.
Yeah.
You want to see the fans get into the game? You're making it harder on yourself, because forget the idea that this is great locker room material that he's feeding us, him and the quarterback. And, every baby in the state is learning how to, flip the middle finger this weekend, according to that quarterback. The fans are going to be losing their minds. We are going to be so strong at the stadium this weekend, they will not get a third down snap off without going deaf.
Coach Narduzzi said they're going to throw babies too. There went one. Now had to be at least 2 years old.
They won't even have to play Sweet Caroline over the speakers. The fans they'll be singing it, we'll be singing it ourselves.
Right. And I don't know how that started. I know Country Roads started when Rich Rod singing Country Roads at the end of when they win. That started with Rich Rod. The Sweet Caroline, I think it started because Pitt was singing it, and that was their little song, and we just want to take a big old dump on their tradition, so we just added a little extra verse, same as the first, but with them, we all know how it goes. I don't want to get kicked off the show for saying it, but it's in the title of the thumb, which I thought was pretty cute and creative. So, guys, pat on the back, right?
Hey, Kelly.
It is
Kelly's reached. What's that?
It is the week, and we're going to say hi to the chat here because this is the call-in show.
Absolutely. There we go.
Kelly McCourt's here. So, Kelly McCourt, good to see you. We're missing you for a little while. Now you're back. I'm back. I took about 3 months off. Now, Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, talking college football with JJ Kitchen. That's us, Dumb and Dumber. So, with that being Dumb and Dumber, let's talk about Pitt Week. 2 things can happen this week, and we're not X's and O's guys. We're literally we're like, I get the magic 8 ball, I shake it up, and West Virginia can do 1 of 2 things this week. They can right the ship, and everything's going to be Mountaineer kisses and blue and gold hugs, right? Or they tank, they lose, even if it's a close one, people are going to be screaming, just hanging from the rafters, just biting at their knuckles. It's going to be crazy. What do you say?
Are you asking me, or are we talking to the folks
No, I'm
listening at home?
Chad, I'm asking you, Eric. What do you think?
This is going to be a big one because, in particular, we're not going to get a chance to do it again for a while. So the fact that we're going to have about 4 years of a layoff, that is, Narduzzi had mentioned the possibility of possibly, playing before then. There's talk about, but I don't see that happening. I don't see us adding another Power Four team to our schedule. Kind of did that for a few years, didn't work out great for us. But yeah, folks are going to be really pumped up for this one. I know it's all over the place, and a lot of people have disappointment, myself included. Could have had game day here, but listen, there is hope for salvation this coming weekend. And one thing everybody has learned about this game, doesn't matter which side of the Mason-Dixon line you root for, you can throw away everything else leading up to this game. This game is an entire season all into itself. You will see miraculous things. You will see horrific things as far as from your team and from the opponent. All bets are off the table. I got we might talk about some of those previous game memories. So I'll bring that up here in a bit.
Yeah. I'm just pulling up the outline here again, and I'll tell you what, it is going to be a crazy one because, I still can't get over the batteries and beer. I can't keep. I know that ship has sailed. We talked it to death, but what benefit does it have for Narduzzi to just keep throwing fuel on the fire? I mean, does he need that locker room poster board material? I mean, is he having problems motivating his guys? I mean, he has a lot of very athletic skill guys on his team. Watch the Central Michigan game. My kid went to it. They looked okay. They looked like, they definitely look like they can beat West Virginia. I hate to say that on the show, but when you have the eyeball test, the Pitt looks like the better team, but they are traveling to Morgantown, and that is the great equalizer. How much do you think that is that really an equalizer, or is that just something that coach speak?
No, I think it's legit. I think Narduzzi really enjoys sticking a finger in the eyes of West Virginia, both the team and the fan base. This isn't the first time he's done it. He's done it a number of times. I actually would have appreciated it better if he would have said that the babies were chugging beers and throwing batteries. But I don't know. Maybe that's for next year or next time we meet. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's you had mentioned earlier what are the best memories from backyard brawls, and I was trying to think back, because some of them are memorable, but not in a good way. Like I think back to that travesty that was was it about 10 years ago where West Virginia and Pitt scored in the 50s and Pitt ended up winning?
Yeah.
What year was that? I'm trying to look it up right now. Trying to look it up, chat. So bear with me.
You look that up. I'm going to talk. There was a game back in the 90s, I think it was, where Pitt came back, and this was before the tiebreaker rule, and we were winning. We had like 30 some points on them, and they came back and tied up the game. It was a walk-off field goal, I believe. And I remember the entire stadium going quiet, wondering what just happened. Again, like you said, not a great memory for Mountaineers, but definitely memorable.
That's true.
Say another.
Go ahead.
Another one. I grew up in Morgantown, and I grew up not terribly far from the stadium. And I remember that in the 70s, Pitt had quite a stronghold on talent. Western PA was cranking out big time talent. And I remember my parents, I was just playing in the backyard. My parents came out and told me, hey, we're playing Pitt. You don't leave the backyard. We don't want you going playing if they're out in the neighborhood.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh,
anything could happen. And I remember I could hear the game going on, and that was the year that Bill McKenzie kicked a walk-off field goal, 38-yarder to win the game. You would have thought you were standing in the stadium. That stadium exploded. That's one I'll never forget. I wasn't even at the game.
that's crazy. Well, I'm pulling up right now some of the game scores and how crazy the scores are. So if you can just
I got one for you.
yeah,
94. 94, that game went back and forth. That game was phenomenal. I'll quote Don, well, I'll paraphrase Don Nealon. Don said, if you were a coach of the game, that is one you hated. If you're a fan of the game, that was a great game to watch. He said
that's
everything they did went wrong, both sides, not just him, not just WVU, but Chad Johnston, I believe, threw I forget how far the pass was, but it was the pass to Zach Abraham, and I think there was 23 seconds left on the clock. We're down by one, and we're running just streaks down the field. All the receivers, it's just a flood. And the play before, Chad scrambles for like 14 yards. All the DBs start tightening up on their coverage because they're waiting for Chad to run again.
mhm.
Very next play, they got him behind the secondary.
That was it. Hit him deep.
Mhm. I
So
remember too. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I'm just thinking. I'm like, I look back at this and why I really, we talk on here like what the big rivalries are,
Hmm.
and you go based off your experiences, and you're talking about your experience. You think about all these games that have been really tight. But I remember in the '90s, and that's when I lived in Morgantown. West Virginia only lost once. From '92, I got there in '93 until I left. That 9 year span there, West Virginia lost in '97, and it was pretty lopsided.
Hmm.
So it wasn't much of a, it wasn't really contested. But you're given memories back when you could hear the games be close, and then we know all what's happened the past 10 years has been more Pitt than West Virginia the past few years. But what are some other memories you have, Eric, of living in Morgantown and it being a Pitt weekend?
Well, I'll jump back to the 75 game.
Okay.
So immediately after we win that game, and it sounded like all of Morgantown was cheering, regardless of whether you were in the stadium or not.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody, because that game was televised, I am certain everybody was losing their mind. My parents came out. I remember, well, it was my dad. My dad came out in the backyard. He's like, come on in. We don't even want you in the backyard now. And I remember thinking, come on, you know, we didn't live that close to the stadium. And I remember going to church the next day, in the family truckster,
Mhm.
and we're driving through Sunnyside, and there are tennis shoes all over the wires, and there are scorch marks on University Avenue from where they had bonfires. Apparently, they had taken a few extension ladders, spread them out across the street, and they blocked off Sunnyside. Things were a little bit crazier back then, but I
Yeah.
think that same kind of energy and excitement, people are bringing it. It's here. It's here this week.
Yeah. And if you look at, like, if you once over the world, basically after that 75 win, all of the 70s, West Virginia didn't even sniff a win
No.
till 84 or 83. It
Yep.
was Oliver Luck, right?
Yeah. Very good memory.
So, this one, there's one right here where was the one where Bobby Bowden literally was winning, and then at halftime, Pitt came back and beat him. It was somewhere, I think it was in 70, 74, No, it had to be 74. But anyways, there's a story where Pitt came back, beat West Virginia, and I've told the story on the show before. Basically, the Bowden brothers went up to Fraternity Hill there and with some lumber and smacked a couple kids around because they hung their dad, the Coach Bowden, in effigy off of one of those frat houses. So
Yes, they did. I remember that.
yeah, so
That made the paper.
yeah,
Not the
yeah.
Bowden boys, but the hanging Bobby or hanging Bobby in effigy. That made the paper. Here's how much energy there is for this game this weekend. Um, Wheeling up at Ogilvy, they're going to have a big watch party. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. Tell us about it.
So they're going to have a big watch party open to the public. They're going to have food trucks. Going to let everybody who can't make it to Morgantown come and enjoy it in the West Virginia atmosphere at a great West Virginia, tourist location. So that tells you how much interest there is for, a town that is what, an hour and 20 minutes away or so. That's a big city in West Virginia that if you can't make it down to Morgantown, they got your back. Charles Wesley Godwin, everybody knows him.
Mm-hmm.
He's on tour right now. Guess where he's going to be this weekend? He took off from the tour to come to the game this weekend.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to be in town. That's good to see. But it is still a hot ticket, guys. Every week on here we talk about what is the ticket price going for, and ticket prices are around a buck and a quarter, buck 50 for a decent seat. So it's above the average. A week ago they were you couldn't sniff one for under $200. So that loss, the price did go down. There are tickets available, so if you do want to check it out, go ahead and hey, it's going to be a hell of a game. It's not going to be it's going to be close, at least for the first quarter, right? Either way.
Pokemon Kid pulled out 2011. I think that was the score fest that maybe didn't go our way.
Yeah, I'm gonna let me put it up one more time here.
Yeah.
So you got the blowout was 99 West Virginia for 2 years in a row scored 52 on them from 98 and 99. With 1 year was Bolger. Then they took a hit in 2000, 2001. Righted the ship in 2002, 2003, and then it seemed like Rich Rod went on a tear. Had their number. 2004 was a tough one. It was 13-16. But 2005, 2006, they just curb stomped Pitt. It wasn't even close. And that 2006, that was late score for Pitt. So that was West Virginia had that well in hand, and that was in Pittsburgh. But when they came to Morgantown and won 13-9, this game that's being played this week is going to be played it's going to be played on 9-13. So I don't read much into that.
No. I'm not going to make fun of anybody who sees the numbers, because the numbers do kind of stick out, but they're just numbers. We'll get to some other things about numbers here later on, but please continue.
Good run playing Pitt, Dana Holgerson.
Yeah. Well, I kind of think that was also too that Pitt had taken a downturn during those years.
They were really, really bad then. And
yeah.
Last year it was one of those games, guys, where literally, I've said this on the show, I turned it off thinking West Virginia had it in hand, getting ready to do yard work, came back in, and TV was still on, and I about fell over on the couch just because I was so shocked. But I mean, it can turn that quick. Let's see what Leo Cole says here. I like a news story. CBS analyst states WU is one of the 25 worst teams in the nation. Yeah, I saw that, and it was ranked at like 20. So it wasn't like 25. Like Kansas State was like 23, and Yeah, Leo, that is absolutely. I don't think they are one of the worst teams. I think I don't know. I don't know. We'll see after this week, but the offensive line, what Rich Rod said in his presser 2 days ago, he said he didn't really say missed assignments. He said the offensive line didn't really miss assignments. The way he spun it was a little bit optimistic. Like it was more of a timing thing. So I don't know if that's coach speak or if it's legitimately like they're not that bad. They're just young. What do you take from that, Eric?
Um, I don't think West Virginia is one of the top or one of the worst 25 teams. I think that's absurd. I think that's absurd. First of all, there's 2 games in the season. Um, Robert Morris, not going to speak a whole lot about that. I think everybody realizes what that game is, and every team in the country has that game. Quite honestly, that pattern started years ago. The NCAA opened up play to what are now FCS schools, try to get them some money, throw a little bit of money their way, a little bit of TV time. So that is what it is. The game against Ohio, obviously not the way we wanted it to go. Probably one of the worst games we have played in recent memory. That being said, I think at the end of the season, you're going to see Ohio University they're a good team. And as we said before we played them, that's a good program. They've got well over 30 wins in 3 seasons. I don't think we're that bad. Do I think we have a lot to improve on? Yes. Do we have 80 players that are new to the team that we're trying to gel and figure out combinations? I don't know that I agree with the idea that we didn't have some blown assignments. I think we did.
Yeah.
Uh, but from what I've seen, the defense looks outstanding. We could be really good on defense. There's no way in the world we should have held Ohio University scoreless in the second half of that game. That defense had been out there the entire game. Pretty sure Ohio doubled our time of possession. Um, but that defense just held tough. I think we've got a lot to look forward to with the defense. I think if we get some things righted on the offensive line, I think we've got enough skill on offense. We could definitely turn things around. The other thing too, I'll say is we have quarterbacking options, and I'm not gonna start, causing controversy or speaking controversy yet.
Yeah.
But sometimes the best quarterback is not necessarily the one that's the best quarterback. Um, and I'll leave it at that for now because I think we don't know enough yet, and that includes me. We're going to learn more this weekend.
Yeah, Mountaineer Paul did a great video with Jackson Johnson. With Jackson Johnson's a friend of the show. He's on the Voice of College Football Alabama channel.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing they talked about. Max Brown, they showed video of him at Florida. Played a lot of games at Florida. So he has experience against SEC schools.
Mm-hmm.
His release was really quick and really liked the way that ball came off of his hand. Now he's not as mobile as Jalen Henderson. I think Nico's a little bit of everything, kind of rolled up into one. But if things don't go, Nico's way, do you think, Eric, that Rich Rod's going to put in another quarterback, and who would that be?
It's a great question, and I think the question has to be asked not just by us, the fans, but it's got to be asked by the coaches. Look, I love Nico. Think he's a great quarterback. Unfortunately, I think he is in a bad spot because in looking at past games under Neil Brown, he did fantastic, but he had a much more gelled and proven line.
Yeah.
That line could do better with pass protection. Our pass blocking looked awful this past weekend. If you're going to have problems protecting your quarterback, you got to put in a more mobile quarterback. That's either Jalen or Scotty.
Right. if you're going to let that defensive end come around, you want to make him pay for it by getting having your guy be able to make him miss and get to the outside and make some hay. And I think Scotty Fox or Jalen might be the answer. I don't know. I'm sure they're having that discussion. I'm sure Rich Rod has a couple tricks up his sleeve. And the defense with Zach Alley, like you said, they played a lot of ball, a lot of snaps, and they still looked really good. Jamori, will we see him, Eric, this Saturday?
Man, that is a great question. And I think the answer we all want to hear is heck yeah. The notion being that everybody feels pretty strongly he could bring a lot to the table for us. Couple of problems. Not only has he not been practicing with the team because he just hadn't been cleared, you have to get in so many practices before you can play in a game. And Zach Alley implied real subtly, it's very subtle, that, in his press conference that he had played that day. Didn't say if he played the day before. I believe this was yesterday, I think. But yeah, he should play. I think he'll have enough.
Leo says it's Fox time. And I'll tell you what, I think Scotty, that young man, I didn't know this, Eric, but that guy, he was 17. He graduated from high school early so he could play ball, suit up and play ball. So he literally should be getting ready. He should be probably getting ready for a prom or some crap. He's a baby. And we could have him for 4 years.
I'm with you. There are certain players that you make sure you keep on the roster. You do what you got to do. Leo, I love it, man. I love the quote. It is and I'm sorry, I'm geeking out here. Look, I really think we're very well of Jalen too, but I'm going to have a hard time not wanting to see Scotty on Saturday. I'd love to see what he can do. I think if we can't protect Nico, I don't know what you do, because you can't let him sit back there and just get the daylights beat out of him. And he's not helping the team if he can't throw the ball. If you can't establish quick passes, I think, like you had said, they had talked about a tunnel screen. If you can't set up quick passes, it's time to put in Jalen. And in particular, I will be screaming at the TV for Scotty.
Yes, scream. Now, here's the thing. Are you going to go meander over towards the stadium and do some tailgating and come home? Or are you just going to bunker down over your neck of the woods and just call it and open your windows and kind of listen for, some let's go Mountaineer chants off in the distance?
So actually, I'm running out of lake days. So I'm probably going to go to the lake beforehand, and then I'll come back for the game. I probably be getting together with neighborhood friends, but from where I live, you can hear on fall nights when the wind is just right. You can hear the chanting and the cheering coming in from the stadium. It's great.
Oh, that's just Bigfoot calls. That's just those Mountaineer, what do they call them? Appalachian Suns. They do their videos now. They used to be on Mountain Monsters. Those are just those guys doing Sasquatch calls over there in Suncrest.
Was it the Goat Man? Yeah.
Jim Brewer. No, seriously, that's great. So you're gonna be hanging out with the neighborhood and listening and watching the game. That's great.
How about you?
I have a friend coming. He went to West Virginia. He lives in East Lansing.
Yeah.
He's coming down. We're going to go to a high school ball game on Friday. And then we're going to probably leave here about 10 in the morning, get into Morgantown about 12 because it's a 2-hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
And then from, say 12:30, takes about half an hour to walk from the Coliseum over to like where the tailgating's getting going on. I might try to park closer. And that's it. It's going to be game on. He doesn't drink. I don't usually drink, but I might have one or two. We'll see what happens. And
That's a great plan. What about everybody who's tuning in today?
Yeah, chat. What are your plans? Jersey Ear's probably going to watch it from Jersey, right? Channel.
Heck
Jersey
yeah.
Ear has great. Go ahead and I'll put it up on the screen, Jersey Ear. If you want to pop on Jersey Ear, I'll send you a link.
Now we'll be sitting here watching the game with Goat Man, the Goat Man, and Jersey Ear will be watching it with the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, yeah. Let me invite. See if he wants to come on there. Here it is. If you guys want to pop in. What are we eating? Afton asks. Usually I go to a tailgate and there's like maybe a couple pepperoni rolls, a vegetable tray, a couple cookies. They usually have some salsa and chips. And
Pulled pork's always a staple.
Yeah, pulled pork. They have all that kind of stuff usually.
That's what I'm making for Saturday.
Pulled pork. That's a good thing. Put in a crock pot. Get ready for that day. Leo's going to have a quiet evening with his dog and just watch the Mountaineers. That's the way to do it. My son just had the Boston Terrier wrapped up in a blanket, like a little teeny blanket, and he looked like one of those corn dogs. And he just walking around, the dog just sitting there. They put up with all kinds of stuff. So Jersey Ear's coming on just to say hi and to he's going to plug his show, give his take on what's going to happen. He's very knowledgeable about the Mountaineers, and I always like to hear what he has to say. There are two, Pat Narduzzi, even though he saw West Virginia struggle against Ohio, he gets a case of the cooties when he comes down here. He really does not like coming into Morgantown and playing ball. So he talks out of the side of his mouth that he wants to come here and he still wants to do this every year. But there had to be some sort of problem. And I'm saying problem, scheduling problem, that kept Ren Baker from putting that on the books.
I tend to believe it's a matter of, do you want to play all of your non-conference games against Power Four schools? And today, with the way rankings, et cetera, work, it doesn't pay to do that. That's a losing proposition. Here he is.
What are your thoughts? Do you think Ren Baker genuinely offered to extend the series a couple years, or did he just?
Yeah, why would we duck Pitt? I mean, it's not like it's like the Penn State series where we were mismatched. I mean, really, I said on my show this week, we could have easily been 3-0 in these games, right? I think that's like the biggest thing that stinks. We look at the first year when the ball went through Bryce Ford Wheaton's hands. He catches that, we probably win that game. We win in Morgantown the last time we played, and then last year we should have won. We had like a 98% win probability. Why would we be scared to play Pitt? Are they any different than any Big 12 team? I mean, they're probably like a mid-tier Big 12 team. So it's not like that's an automatic L. Our fans want it. They want regional rivalries. Why would we duck that game? Makes no sense.
And ticket sales. Ticket sales are great because you go to Acrisure, Heinz, whatever the flavor of the month is up in Pittsburgh. It's 60-40, 50-50 Mountaineer fans.
Yeah, it's a winnable game, man. That's what I'm saying. It's a winnable game, and it's not like you have to, if you have that one game a year, that should really be played on rivalry week too. Every other conference, right, or most other schools have a rivalry, even out of conference in that week, right? Florida State, Georgia Tech, South Carolina, Clemson. Why is that game not? Why can't we get a pass from the Big 12? Put that day. Put Bedlam in that same week. That game should be played every year on rivalry week, in my opinion.
I think marketing. Like there should be a incentive when you sign up. Like how like you have to pay for certain packages. Like the ESPN, Fox, whoever is going to be broadcasting, making money off of that, the views go up when you have Bedlam, when you have the backyard brawl, when you have Army Navy. I know Army Navy has a separate contract with NBC, but you think moving forward with the way everything's a la carte, that they could finagle some way to make it a little bit more beneficial as far as the money goes for Pitt and West Virginia.
I did a video this year of like the top 5 games that I was looking forward to, right? And Pitt was obviously number 1. And then after that, it was really hard to choose a second game, right? Like besides this game, what game are you looking forward to this year? I mean, Colorado will be cool with Dion, but other than that, are you really excited to play BYU on a Friday night? You know what I mean? It's just these games matter so much. And really, I wish we could get more rivals back on. I know we kind of shot ourselves in the foot the last few years with overscheduling, but I miss playing Virginia Tech and Maryland. And these regional rivalries are so important for our fan base because I think in the Big 12, people aren't as excited with the rest of the schedule that we have.
I agree. And just real quick, I wanted to toss in, I would love to see us play them early in the season like we are now. And the reason for that being, I do think this is a nationally recognized rivalry. ESPN covered this rivalry. They actually put something out on YouTube today. A nice little piece on the rivalry. It was actually pretty good. But the idea that America misses the local rivalries, understanding when America appreciates the long-standing, long-distance one like USC Notre Dame. I get that. But the local rivalries, those have gone away with all this conference realignment. I think we could be a star attraction for viewers if we play it during this time. When people are looking for that, we could be that star game. I remember that was the case when we played Louisville. I think it was 2006. Miami and Florida State both had kind of gone, they had both kind of tanked. And America was looking for that rivalry, that game. And yeah.
Look what happened the first time we played Pitt, when they had the 11-year hiatus. It was the biggest crowd in Pittsburgh sports history. That's including the Steelers. What does that tell you? And that's with West Virginia being down, right? I think we can all say here that we are not happy with the brand of West Virginia football, but the fact that we're still showing up. I mean, you look at that Penn State game that we had last year. That place was buzzing with the Pat McAfee show the day before. And then, you're going to look at the crowd Saturday, and we just had one of our worst losses that we've had in a long time, and we're still going to show up. So this, our fan base desperately needs these games. And really, my other point too is, what's it called? When your team's struggling, right? Like West Virginia, with our team struggling as much as we are, having this game, and no matter what happens the rest of the season, if we win this one Saturday, I don't care what happens the rest of the season, we're going to look back on this one as one that is going to be one of our favorite memories.
Right. And just to harp on what you were saying, for weeks, it seems like every show I say, Pitt's not even my favorite rivalry. I want Louisville. So bad in Virginia Tech. Those are the games in the 90s that meant something when I was in school and lived in Morgantown. Those were the games that had some weight to them. So the Pitt game is just like, it's Pitt, because I live around Pittsburgh and I hear the people complain, and Pitt has a lot of casual fans. And those casual fans, what do they watch? The backyard brawl. They could give two shits about anything through the season unless it's Penn State. But the casual guy down the road, unless it's the Steelers, they'll watch Pitt if they're playing West Virginia or playing Penn State. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I think West Virginia, we have diehard fans, and we're going to be locked into whoever we're playing. But you just know this one just means more, and it's been circled on the calendar. It's been talked about. It's kind of a shame. I feel like, since we lost Ohio, I know people are excited, but the buzz definitely is not the same, I feel like, around the program since we lost that game. It kind of took the winds out of the sail. But if we could win this game, this could be the springboard that we need for the Rich Rod 2.0 era. And we need something right now to wash that one, dump that one, and a glimmer of hope for this fan base.
No, yeah, Eric and me were talking. Eric, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Pre-2004, things turned a corner, and that 2003 season, they looked like crap the first few games, and all of a sudden, they beat Virginia Tech on a Thursday night when Virginia Tech was number 3, and it that was the pinnacle. That was when the momentum for Rich Rod started, and there's talk he's a really good coach. But Eric, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, Jersey here, what do you think if we are to win this game on Saturday, what needs to happen?
So I put out six things that need to happen, right? And here are a few of them that I can remember off the top of my head. I think one of the more underrated ones is special teams, right? Because they put Desmond Reed as a punt returner and kick returner, and he's dynamic. And remember last year, what changed the game was there was a holding call on Wyatt Milam that took a touchdown away. And the very next play, we punted, and it was blocked for a punt return touchdown. We could have put that team away. So we cannot, with the struggling offense, afford to give them freebies. And hell, we might have to make a few of our special teams plays our own. I think we need to stay ahead of schedule is the other one, right? The reason we lost to Ohio last week is because we were constantly in third and long situations, right? If you are constantly in third and long situations against this Pitt front seven and this pass rush, it is going to be a long day to be a West Virginia fan. So they need to stay ahead of schedule. And then the last thing, it comes down to turnovers. Eli Holstein's a good quarterback, all respect to him, but he has turned the ball over in the past. And our team last week caused 3 turnovers and did enough to win that game. So if you can limit big special teams plays, run the ball and stay ahead of schedule, and then turn them over, get the home crowd involved. That's the last thing I want to say, right? Is we have to start fast in this game because of the way we ended last game. And when I went to that Penn State game last year, the crowd was great, but we had nothing to cheer about. There was literally not one time where the roof blew off that place and it could be crazy. We need to have a play in the first half of that game and stay in that game, let the Morgantown crowd get to Pitt, and then we have a shot. But if we go down early and it gets down ugly early, you're going to hear that groan in the crowd. It's going to get real silent, and it's going to be awkward. And I don't like our chances if that happens.
I love it, man. I love your points. We got to get the crowd into it early. I think if we can get the crowd into it early, maybe have a few babies up in the stand throwing batteries, we have a chance. Get them in there early. I think Narduzzi's offenses, they're notorious for starting slow. That's going to be great. If we can play, like you mentioned, turnovers, we can get our defense in there, and Zach's going to be especially aggressive this week, I would think. We get some turnovers there, that could be a game changer. The thing we've got to do too, like you said, I would rephrase it that we've got to play a very clean game. We won't be able to afford the penalties like we had last week, and that obviously killed us. You gave away 85 yards of offense. Well, not all offense, but in any case, we've got to play very clean. We can't kill ourselves. I still have nightmares about the mysterious Wyatt Milam holding call that didn't happen. We've got to get something moving on offense. If we need to throw the ball to open up the run, because you're right, Pitt's front line on defense, they're stout. They're legit. We're going to have to get past them. And to me, the way we can do that is I'm just going to call it now. I would like to see a more dynamic quarterback in there, a little bit more mobile, get the ball downfield, some quick passes. They don't have to be long. You don't have to make them all long. I think that would be enough to get us in the game.
I think someone made a comment before. I think it's time to let some other dudes give him a shot. I mean, I've been pounding the desk. This guy right here, Leo Cole, thank you. I've been pounding the desk on my show, all week. Bowers and Edwards, right? Bowers just looks different carrying the ball, right? And he has that 4.3 speed that's fast. And then even, listen, I'm not sure about the quarterback. I think you have a point. Jalen Henderson against Robert Morris when he was running that read option, and even when the play got called back last week, just looked different. He kind of looked like that Rich Rod quarterback that he's always had. So I agreed with Rich Rod last week when he put him in the game to see if he can get a spark. Now Jalen missed a few passes, so if we can get him comfortable, I think it could work. I think you make a point. I think with Nico sometimes I think it's like trying to put a square peg in a round hole sometimes with the way he plays. And I think you need a more fast quarterback that's mobile. So I'm not sure who starts, but I think you have to run some different guys out there to see what you have.
I'm open for it, and here's the thing: you don't want to stick someone in when they feel like they have to play catch up and play from behind.
I
And
agree with. I'm sorry. Good.
no, that's just it. You have to catch up, play from behind. That's tough. That's a tough spot to put a guy.
It is, and I, something I would love to see that maybe. And I'm sorry, Afton's got me laughing. I gotta recenter myself here. If last week was the case of we had an offensive plan, because Rich is notorious for saying, I've done my assessment. These are the plays I'm going to give you. These are the formations, because he's big into formations. Our formations, we don't really have all that many plays. We have a set number of plays with just a ton of different reads. And he's been notorious for saying, this is what I'm going to give you. It's up to you to beat this other team with this limited set. And that easily could have been what happened last week. And that maybe he's been holding out because he also did this. He would always hold back with certain teams, knowing he was facing other teams coming up. And maybe it was an aberration, and maybe we can get back to zone blocking. And maybe, like you said, especially with Edwards, especially with Bowers, there's your replacement for Schmidt and Slayton. Those guys can find a seam. It could be a completely different story this week. Would that happen? I don't know.
I think there's so many guys on this offense that have potential that we have not seen yet. I mean, truthfully, Ty Edwards is a guy that rushed for 1,000 yards last year at Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa, is a good brand of football in the FCS. Just watch his tape, man. The guy is a big physical back that runs hard. And then like Bowers, that could be like a thunder lightning approach, on offense. And then, other guys that I want to see just create more plays. It's time for Rodney Gallagher to step up. You know what I mean? He's been a 4-star guy. He's been in the program for a while. We love Rodney, but it's time for him to take a bigger role. Orrin Singleton caught 65 balls at Eastern Michigan. He hasn't done much this year. There's talented guys in that room. It's time for them to step up, especially with their backs against the wall and guys being injured. When one guy gets hurt, it creates another opportunity for someone. And what a better stage than this Saturday versus Pitt.
I love it. Rodney Gallagher is bringing the helmet to the game in remembrance of his mother that he lost when he was just a child. I think this could be a huge breakout game for Rodney. I'm praying for it because the guy deserves it. I think he's done a lot of hard work. I think it's been good for the program. And quite honestly, Cam is going to be targeted by this Pitt defense. There's no doubt about it. I would love to see Gallagher and Fox have big games this weekend because in particular, Fox is great for possession receptions.
Yeah, Fox has shown sure hands. And if you look back at 2 years ago, he was a huge part of that offense. And he's a guy, both those guys you mentioned, right? Great role model people, right? Fox, a Morgantown kid that stayed with the program, walk on, and is a good team guy. So glad he came back. And like you said, man, Rodney Gallagher, what he's doing for the kids that lost a parent. I'm a teacher, right? So I see kids all the time through my school district that deal with similar things that he has. And it's extremely challenging for those kids. So the fact that he's using his platform to do that, hats off to him. Those are two great guys. And, I really hope that this is their breakout game on Saturday because it was funny. I was at my kid's football practice before I came here. And he asked me, because the guy's a big West Virginia fan in New Jersey, believe it or not. And he was like, hey, man, who do you think our number 2 is now that Bray's out? And that was a really hard question to answer. And my first answer was Gallagher. I said, if it's go time. He's a junior. It's go time for Rodney Gallagher. He has to produce this year.
This needs to be his year. I agree.
Yeah, I love the fact that you have that name has been here for a minute. There's just a few holdovers that you have in the locker room, and it was so nice to see Fox unretire and come back. And he's been very, very, very good the past 2 games. Like to see him get some touches too. But hey, where can we find you at? Go ahead and tell us when you put your shows out. Tell us about your show.
All right, so I'm a dad of 2 young boys. I have a 4-year-old and 2-year-old. So and I'm a teacher, so I wear a lot of hats. So whenever I can get in and record, I usually do videos every other day. I put a lot of stuff out there, and things like that. So I'm up to 384 subscribers. I started in May. So I've only been doing this a few weeks. So we've gained a lot of traction. So Jersey Ear on YouTube. We just started the Instagram page and Twitter and stuff like that. So we're literally a few weeks old. So if you're a Mountaineer fan, man, you know, we put stuff out all the time, previewing games, post game, other storylines, you know, everything. So I really appreciate you guys letting me come on here and plug my show. I really appreciate it.
No, great. Well, we're here every Thursday. We're here every Thursday, right, Eric? And then we're here every Monday. 9. Yeah. So I just have a show, a Steelers Dynasty podcast we do Wednesday, and we just went over 500 last week. And, you know, we just had our first like big night with people giving super chats and stuff. So it's crazy when it does happen. It happens fast. So you're going to get there. People in our chat will definitely subscribe and share. It's great. I love to see there's not enough Mountaineer content. You know, it's like there's no competition because we all need to be listening to everyone just talk about the Mountaineers and apostatizing, just like catching the Mountaineer Holy Spirit. You know what I mean?
I think it's actually been good. I think it's actually been good for like my mental health. I'm not mentally ill or anything, but after games, like after talking to the Ohio game, like because like I have my wife and my kids, and you don't really have anyone to talk to about what you're going through. So like I have a buddy that comes on with me, and just to talk what I saw for 30 minutes and talk to other people is like, all right, and I can go to sleep after talking about it. So it's kind of nice to interact with the fans and stuff.
Can't be screaming at a 2 and a 4-year-old like, why won't they run block?
Listen, Shane, they're locked in, man. These kids are locked in. Their favorites. They tell me on the car ride, Dad, I want to play Country Roads. They love the West Virginia Fight song.
Yeah,
we took my kid down last year for the game on his birthday. So he's asking me when we're going again. These kids are brainwashed. They're brainwashed, so they have no choice in this household.
Well, guys, it's been a fantastic 50 minutes, guys, and you know what? That's all we have for tonight. But Jersey Ear, thank you for coming on. Eric, thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it,
guys. Make sure if you're over 30, if you're under 21, don't drink. But if you're over 30, make sure you do a little pre-game prep. You drink some liquid IV, do some stretching, have a buddy kind of walk around hand in hand, so you don't get into trouble. Be careful this weekend. And Pitt, I'm sorry, guys, it's coming. I hear it. I hear it from your house. You can hear it. They're going to be singing Country Roads. So we're going to say good night, and we're going to end the stream with the state flag. And hey, God bless West Virginia.